Have you ever stared up at the vast inky canvas of the night sky, peppered with a billion shimmering diamonds, and felt that unsettling tug, that quiet whisper of a question? What else is out there? Or more intriguingly, what was out there? We live in a world steeped in known history, a grand tapestry woven with threads of archaeological finds, ancient texts, and scientific consensus. Yet beneath this familiar surface, there pulses a current of strange facts and mysteries that defy easy explanation, anomalies that hint at forgotten epochs and civilizations far more advanced than our current textbooks dare to admit. Think of those impossible structures, the intricate carvings that seem to depict technologies we barely grasp today, or the uncanny similarities in myths from cultures separated by oceans and millennia. These aren't just isolated curiosities. They're tantalizing breadcrumbs leading us down a rabbit hole, a journey into the tantalizing realm of the secret technology of Atlantis. Before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, let me know where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you right now in the comments below. Our story, or rather, the whispered legend, begins not with the familiar crashing waves and idyllic, sun-drenched shores that spring to mind when one hears the name Atlantis, but deep within the earth, in the very genesis of their extraordinary power. Imagine, if you will, a time so far removed from our own, it almost feels like a dream, an era when humanity, or perhaps a precursor to it, stumbled upon something truly revolutionary. This wasn't merely the discovery of fire or the invention of the wheel. This was a fundamental shift in understanding the very fabric of reality, a breakthrough that unlocked energy sources we are only now, in our modern age, beginning to theorize about. The earliest Atlanteans, according to the accounts, weren't born with this knowledge. They acquired it, perhaps through an ancient inheritance, or more dramatically, through an unexpected geological event that revealed the Earth's hidden potential. There's a persistent, almost nagging, historiographic mystery surrounding the idea of source knowledge in ancient civilizations. Was it always incremental human ingenuity, or were there moments of profound, almost miraculous revelation? The Atlantean narrative leans heavily towards the latter. They didn't just stumble upon crude oil or a vein of coal. They found something far more profound, something that resonated with the planet's own energetic heartbeat. The true genesis of Atlantean power, as the legends softly suggest, lay within the Earth's geothermic core, but not in the way we understand geothermal energy today. It wasn't about drilling for steam or hot water. Instead, it was an understanding of telluric currents, those faint, oscillating electrical currents that flow naturally beneath the Earth's surface, influenced by solar activity, lunar cycles, and even seismic stresses. While modern science acknowledges these currents, their practical applications are still largely theoretical for us. For the Atlanteans, however, this wasn't theory. It was the foundation of their civilization. They learned not just to detect these currents, but to tap into them, to harmonize with their flow, and to amplify their natural energies through a series of colossal, geometrically precise structures, often described as temples or obelisks. These weren't just buildings. They were conduits, massive antennas, designed to channel the planet's latent power. One might even joke that they were the original energy vampires, but in a far more sophisticated, and initially at least, symbiotic way. The fascinating debate among scholars, even those who entertain the Atlantean hypothesis, often revolves around whether this discovery was a gradual process of observation and experimentation, or a sudden, almost divine, enlightenment. The narratives lean towards a profound, almost mystical connection with the Earth itself, suggesting an intuitive understanding that transcended mere engineering. They essentially cracked the planet's energetic code, a feat that would make our current grid infrastructure look like a child's toy. This nascent power, however, wasn't immediately utilized for grand cities or flying machines. The first applications were far more subtle, yet equally revolutionary. Imagine entire agricultural systems watered and fertilized, not by arduous labor, but by subtle shifts in moisture content coaxed from the air, or fields warmed by imperceptible energy flows that ensured year-round harvests, regardless of external climate. This was the dawn of a symbiotic relationship between Atlantean society and its environment, a period of harmony where their nascent technology worked with nature, not against it. They understood the subtle energies of the planet, much like an acupuncturist understands the flow of qi in the human body, but on a geological scale. The legends speak of early Atlantean settlements being remarkably self-sufficient, requiring minimal effort to sustain their populations, a stark contrast to the endless toil that defined most early human civilizations. This early period, often overlooked in the more sensational accounts of floating cities and death rays, was arguably the most crucial. It was when the foundational principles were laid, when the understanding of energy manipulation was refined, and when the philosophical underpinnings of their society, a deep reverence for the source of their power, were established. It's almost quaint to think of a high-tech civilization starting with glorified smart irrigation. But every empire, even a mythical one, has to learn to crawl before it can build flying saucers. The very idea that such advanced concepts could have been part of an ancient society challenges our linear progression of history, opening up the tantalizing possibility that technological peaks have risen and fallen before our recorded memory began. From this foundational understanding of telluric currents, the Atlanteans swiftly moved to what would become the very heart of their advanced civilization, the mysterious metal known as orichalcum. If you thought mining for gold was exciting, imagine discovering a metal that seemed to hum with its own intrinsic energy, radiating a subtle warmth and glow, almost as if it were alive. Plato, in his accounts, describes orichalcum as a brilliant, fiery gleam, more precious than gold, found only in certain parts of Atlantis. But the secret of orichalcum wasn't just its aesthetic beauty or scarcity. It was its unparalleled ability to store, amplify, and perhaps even generate energy, making it the linchpin of their entire technological edifice. This wasn't just a conductor like copper. It was a superconductor, a power source, and a structural component all rolled into one shimmering, enigmatic package. It makes you wonder if our own periodic table is missing a few key players, doesn't it? The scholarly debate, of course, isn't about if orichalcum existed, but what it might have been. Some suggest a natural alloy, others a synthetically created metamaterial far beyond our current capabilities. The properties of orichalcum went far beyond simple energy conduction. Legends speak of it having levitational properties when properly charged, allowing colossal blocks of stone to be moved with ease, and later forming the basis for their aerial vehicles. Imagine construction sites where massive prefabricated sections simply floated into place, guided by precision energy fields generated by orichalcum resonators. This wasn't brute force. It was elegant, almost ethereal engineering. The metal also appeared to possess bioresonant qualities, influencing living organisms in beneficial ways, contributing to the health and longevity often attributed to the Atlanteans. Think of it as a natural ambient energy field that promoted well-being, like a high-tech spa day for your entire civilization. It's a concept that even modern quantum physics is just beginning to explore. The subtle interplay between energy fields and biological systems. And unlike your smartphone, which usually needs a charger, orichalcum seemed to draw its power from the ambient planetary energies. A truly self-sustaining system. The discovery and subsequent mastery of orichalcum led to a profound transformation of Atlantean society. No longer bound by the limitations of conventional materials or energy sources, their architects and engineers could dream on an unimaginable scale. Cities were not merely built, they were orchestrated, rising from the earth with precision and grace, powered by the very stones of their foundations. This era saw the construction of those fabled crystalline structures that acted as the antennae and amplifiers for the orichalcum-based power grid, mentioned in many Atlantean legends. These weren't just decorative. They were functional components, carefully tuned to resonate with the orichalcum and the telluric currents. The mystery here is how they achieved such precise control over material properties and energy frequencies without the kind of sophisticated instrumentation we rely on today. Was it a deeper intuitive understanding, or simply a lost science? Consider the practicalities. With orichalcum, the concept of scarcity for energy would have been virtually non-existent. Every home, every public building, every device could potentially draw upon this ubiquitous energy source. This freedom from energy concerns would have allowed their society to focus its resources on other pursuits, such as philosophy, art, and scientific exploration. It paints a picture of a civilization free from the constant struggle for resources, a true utopia by some definitions. Of course, as history, even speculative history, often shows, even utopias can harbor unseen flaws. While it eliminated one form of scarcity, it undoubtedly created another, the ultimate scarcity of knowledge and control over this incredible power. The individuals or groups who understood and controlled the orichalcum technology would have wielded immense influence, shaping the destiny of their entire civilization. One can almost hear the political debates, even among enlightened Atlanteans. Who gets the really shiny orichalcum doohickey? The true mastery of orichalcum, however, lay not just in its raw power, but in the Atlanteans' understanding of how to tune and manipulate its resonant frequencies. Different applications required different energetic signatures, and they developed intricate methods, perhaps involving sound, light, or even thought, to calibrate the orichalcum for specific tasks. This is where the line between technology and something akin to magic begins to blur. For us, a machine does one thing reliably. For them, it seems their technology was far more fluid, adaptable, and responsive. This advanced level of control suggests a profound scientific understanding that went beyond mere mechanics, delving into the very quantum nature of matter and energy. It's almost enough to make you feel a little inadequate about your latest smartphone upgrade, isn't it? The lingering question for us is whether such a material could ever exist, or if it remains firmly in the realm of pure fantasy, a wistful longing for a simpler, yet more powerful, way of life. The very idea of it challenges our understanding of material science, with the discovery and manipulation of orichalcum as their foundational energy source. The Atlanteans quickly scaled up their ambitions, moving beyond simple self-sufficiency to establish a sprawling and incredibly advanced infrastructure. This led directly to the development of the crystal grid network, a truly awe-inspiring feat of engineering and esoteric science that distributed and amplified energy across their vast dominion. Imagine not just power lines, but massive, naturally occurring or carefully cultivated crystals, strategically placed across the Atlantean landmass, each humming with a unique frequency, acting as both receiver and transmitter. These weren't decorative garden ornaments. They were the very backbone of their civilization, pulsing with the lifeblood of orichalcum-generated energy. It makes our modern electrical grids, with all their ugly poles and tangled wires, look like something out of the Stone Age, doesn't it? The true mystery here lies in the Atlanteans' understanding of crystalline structures at a level that far surpasses our own, particularly their ability to precisely cut, align, and program these crystals to resonate with specific energy frequencies. These crystals, often described as colossal and multifaceted, were more than just passive conduits. They were active components in a vast interconnected system, constantly receiving, refining, and broadcasting energy. Think of them as giant organic supercomputers, each performing complex energy calculations and directing flows with incredible precision. Some legends even suggest that these crystals had a certain degree of sentience or responsiveness, attuned to the collective consciousness of the Atlantean people. While that might sound like something out of a science fiction novel, the very idea of materials reacting to subtle energetic inputs is a concept gaining traction in cutting-edge physics today. The network wasn't just about raw power. It was about harmonized energy distribution, ensuring that every part of Atlantis received exactly the right kind of energy for its specific needs. Whether it was powering a levitating transport system, illuminating a subterranean city, or subtly influencing agricultural growth. The intricate placement of these crystals also suggests a profound understanding of planetary ley lines and Earth's natural energetic pathways. The Atlanteans likely didn't just plop these crystals down anywhere. They positioned them at nodal points where telluric currents converged or diverged, maximizing their efficiency and ensuring a stable, robust network. This blend of geological knowledge and advanced crystal science allowed them to create a virtually limitless and self-sustaining power grid that required minimal maintenance. It's a concept that still fascinates proponents of ancient mysteries, the idea that ancient peoples possessed an understanding of Earth's energy grid that we have largely forgotten or dismissed. Mainstream geological science today, while not recognizing ley lines in the mystical sense, certainly studies geothermal hotspots and fault lines, which are areas of significant geological activity and energy. The Atlantean crystal grid suggests an exploitation of these phenomena on a grand, almost artistic scale. One fascinating aspect of the crystal grid network, often overlooked, is its potential role in environmental regulation. If Atlanteans could manipulate energy on such a scale, it's plausible they used the grid to stabilize local climates, purify water sources, or even neutralize seismic activity. Imagine a world where natural disasters were rare occurrences, mitigated by a proactive, energy-based planetary defense system. This vision of harmonious coexistence with nature, powered by advanced technology, stands in stark contrast to our current environmental challenges. It implies a stewardship of the planet that went far beyond mere conservation, moving into active technological co-creation with natural forces. And to think we're still arguing about whether to recycle plastic bottles. The sheer scale and complexity of this network, if it truly existed, presents an enormous scholarly debate. How could such an advanced system be built without extensive archaeological evidence? Proponents suggest that the cataclysm that destroyed Atlantis literally submerged and pulverized much of this infrastructure, leaving little behind for modern discovery. Others argue that the evidence is there, but unrecognized, perhaps misidentified, as natural geological formations, or dismissed as mere mythological embellishments. Regardless, the concept of a crystal grid network highlights the Atlanteans' profound grasp of resonance and vibrational physics, not just as theoretical constructs, but as practical tools for shaping their world. Their understanding of how energy could be transmitted without wires through a medium like the Earth itself marks them as true pioneers, leaving us to wonder what other secrets might be hidden beneath the waves, still humming silently, patiently waiting to be rediscovered. With a virtually limitless and universally distributed energy source, thanks to the crystal grid network and the incredible properties of orichalcum, the Atlanteans turned their genius towards mastering the skies. This ushered in the era of aerial vehicles and levitation, a technological marvel that allowed their civilization to quite literally soar above the conventional constraints of gravity. Imagine a world where personal transport wasn't confined to roads or rails, but involved sleek, silent craft gliding effortlessly through the air, without the roar of engines or the exhaust of combustion. These weren't crude hot air balloons or noisy biplanes. These were sophisticated machines that seemed to defy physics as we understand it, powered by the very same fundamental energy that sustained their cities. It makes you wonder if those ancient cave paintings depicting strange symbols were actually schematics, doesn't it? The core mystery surrounding Atlantean flight is how they achieved true anti-gravity, not just aerodynamic lift. The key to their aerial prowess lay in the precise manipulation of gravitational fields rather than generating brute force thrust. Through carefully calibrated orichalcum resonators and specialized crystalline structures embedded within their vehicles, they could seemingly neutralize or even reverse the effects of gravity on a localized scale. Think of it less like an airplane pushing against the air, and more like a submarine adjusting its buoyancy in water. This allowed for silent, smooth, and incredibly efficient flight, consuming minimal energy once the initial levitation was achieved. Early prototypes might have been ponderous, perhaps large ceremonial platforms designed to lift massive loads for construction, gradually evolving into the more nimble and elegant craft depicted in some esoteric texts. One might even joke that their parking garages were more like vertical docking stations, which probably made parallel parking an entirely new kind of nightmare. These aerial vehicles varied greatly in size and function, from small personal conveyances capable of zipping individuals across the landscape to immense skyships that served as long-distance transports or even mobile city sections. Imagine a grand procession of these silent leviathans, shimmering subtly with the internal glow of their orichalcum cores, moving against the backdrop of a cloudless Atlantean sky. Such vehicles wouldn't just transport people. They would have been used for rapid deployment of resources, environmental monitoring, or perhaps even global exploration far beyond the confines of their immediate archipelago. The mainstream historical fact that often clashes with such narratives is the perceived technological linearity of human development. We generally believe complex flight came much, much later. Yet, if Atlanteans mastered localized gravity manipulation, it fundamentally shifts our understanding of what was possible in antiquity. The concept of levitation wasn't limited to their vehicles. It was integrated into their daily lives and infrastructure. Massive building blocks, perhaps even entire prefabricated sections of structures, could be effortlessly floated into place during construction, explaining how they might have erected monumental architecture with seemingly primitive tools. Water could be drawn from distant sources and levitated through aqueducts in the air, or heavy agricultural machinery could glide over fields without compacting the soil. This ubiquitous application of levitation would have eliminated many forms of physical labor that defined other ancient civilizations, freeing up Atlantean society for intellectual and artistic pursuits. It's almost enough to make you wish for an orichalcum-powered self-vacuuming floor. The open historiographic mystery here is the complete lack of widely accepted archaeological evidence for such advanced aerial technology. If Atlanteans flew, where are the crash sites, the remnants of their airfields, the distinctive metallurgy of their craft? The prevailing theory among those who support the Atlantean narrative is that the cataclysmic end of their civilization, a sudden and violent sinking, would have buried or obliterated most such evidence beneath kilometers of ocean and sediment. Any remnants would be incredibly difficult to locate, let alone identify. Furthermore, the nature of their technology, relying on energy fields rather than solid, complex mechanical components, might mean fewer durable artifacts were left behind. Regardless, the idea of a civilization that transcended the limitations of land-based travel, capable of effortlessly traversing their world, paints a vivid and compelling picture of a lost golden age. While Atlanteans had mastered the skies with their sophisticated aerial vehicles and levitation technology, their understanding of energy and material science also allowed them to conquer another challenging frontier: the very ground beneath their feet. This led to the creation of subterranean habitats, a network of incredible underground cities and tunnels that were not merely dark, damp caves, but thriving, self-sustaining environments, harnessing the Earth's natural energies. Imagine entire metropolitan areas lit by a soft, constant glow, with perfectly controlled climates and intricate systems for air and water purification, all nestled comfortably beneath the surface. It's a far cry from the cramped, dusty mines we picture when we think of subterranean spaces, isn't it? The core mystery here is how they managed to create such vast, stable, and habitable spaces without the advanced tunneling and structural reinforcement techniques we associate with modern underground construction. The secret to these underground marvels lay in their ability to manipulate geological forces and to utilize the geothermal and crystalline energy they had so profoundly mastered. Instead of brute force excavation, Atlanteans likely employed methods of molecular destabilization or targeted energy frequencies to soften and reshape rock, allowing for the creation of immense caverns and intricate tunnel networks with remarkable ease and precision. This wasn't about digging. It was about sculpting the earth itself. Imagine a giant silent drill made of pure energy, capable of carving out perfect circular tunnels or vast domed chambers. This ability would also explain the stability of these structures. The rock wasn't merely removed, but perhaps subtly reformed or reinforced at a molecular level, preventing collapses and ensuring long-term integrity. It's enough to make you reconsider every subway system you've ever ridden. Life within these subterranean habitats was far from primitive. Powered by the ubiquitous orichalcum and integrated seamlessly into the crystal grid network, these cities boasted their own unique ecosystems. Artificial sunlight, generated by focused energy emitters, mimicked the warmth and spectrum of the sun, nurturing lush underground gardens and supporting diverse flora. Air circulation systems, driven by subtle energy currents, kept the atmosphere fresh and pure, entirely free of pollutants. Think of it as a perfectly controlled, sustainable biodome, but carved out of solid rock. This leads to an intriguing open historiographic mystery. If such advanced underground cities existed, why have we found no definitive evidence of them? Proponents suggest these habitats were located in geologically stable areas that subsequently sank with the continent, or that their entrances were intentionally sealed and perfectly camouflaged, remaining undiscovered. These underground networks also served strategic purposes. They provided immense protection from surface-level climatic shifts, potential conflicts, or even the eventual cataclysm that befell Atlantis. They were bastions of civilization, designed for long-term survival and resilience. Moreover, some legends hint at these subterranean spaces housing the most sacred knowledge and powerful technologies, serving as vaults for their civilization's deepest secrets. Far from prying eyes, it's almost as if they foresaw the need for a cosmic bug-out bag, doesn't it? One could even speculate that certain critical research or development projects, perhaps involving the very limits of their energy manipulation, were conducted in these isolated, highly controlled environments. The concept of subterranean cities also raises interesting questions about Atlantean society and psychology. Would living beneath the earth for extended periods foster a different perspective, a deeper connection to the planet's core energies, or perhaps a slight aversion to the unpredictable surface world? This shift in environment could have influenced their art, philosophy, and even their social structures, creating a culture uniquely adapted to its carefully constructed underground reality. While the idea of a lost, advanced civilization existing beneath our feet might seem like pure fantasy, the persistence of such tales across diverse cultures, from the hollow earth theories to stories of Agatha, suggests a deeper resonance with the human imagination, a whisper of a possibility that our world holds more secrets than we dare to imagine. With energy harnessed from the planet's core and distributed through crystalline networks, and with the ability to shape their environment both above and below ground, Atlanteans turned their attention to the most fundamental aspect of any civilization: sustenance. This led to incredible agricultural innovations, a testament to how their advanced technology wasn't merely about grand constructions or impressive vehicles, but also about creating a society of abundance and sustainable living. Imagine fields that flourished year-round regardless of season, crops that grew to astounding sizes, and a food supply that was not only limitless but also perfectly tailored to nutritional needs, all without the back-breaking labor that defined farming for millennia. It makes you wonder why we're still wrestling with crop circles that don't indicate advanced growing techniques, doesn't it? The core mystery here is how they achieved such precise and widespread biological manipulation without what we would consider conventional genetic engineering tools. The key to Atlantean agricultural success lay in their understanding of energetic biostimulation and environmental control. They didn't rely solely on natural sunlight or rainfall. Instead, they used focused energy fields generated by smaller, localized orichalcum nodes and crystal arrays to optimize plant growth. These fields could selectively provide the exact spectrum of light, the perfect temperature, and even the precise vibrational frequencies to accelerate photosynthesis, enhance nutrient absorption, and protect against pests. Think of it as hyper-efficient, large-scale hydroponics, but powered by unseen forces. This allowed them to cultivate multiple harvests per year from the same plots of land, dramatically increasing yield and food security. It's almost as if they had a giant invisible switch that simply turned on super grow mode. Beyond optimizing growth, Atlanteans also likely possessed a deep understanding of soil regeneration and nutrient synthesis. They wouldn't have depleted the land through intensive farming. Instead, their technology would have actively enriched it, perhaps by drawing atmospheric nitrogen or minerals from the deeper earth and infusing them into the soil through targeted energy pulses. This created a truly sustainable cycle, where the land remained fertile indefinitely, free from the need for external fertilizers or lengthy fallow periods. This is a concept that modern agriculture, with its reliance on chemical inputs and monoculture, still struggles with. The open historiographic mystery arises when considering the implications. If food was so abundant and easily produced, what drove their economy? How did work and value manifest in a society where basic needs were met with such technological grace? Furthermore, their agricultural innovations extended to controlling microclimates. Even on the surface, where weather could be unpredictable, Atlanteans could use localized energy fields to shield crops from harsh winds, intense storms, or even sudden frosts. This ensured a stable and predictable harvest, removing one of the greatest uncertainties that has plagued human civilizations throughout history. It paints a picture of a pastoral paradise, where the concerns of famine and scarcity were entirely alien concepts, allowing the population to focus on intellectual and spiritual development rather than endless toil. And for anyone who's ever lost a garden, to an unexpected hailstorm. This sounds like pure bliss. This sophisticated approach to agriculture would have had profound societal impacts. With food security guaranteed, the vast majority of the population would have been freed from agricultural labor, allowing them to specialize in other fields: arts, sciences, governance, and spiritual pursuits. It fosters the image of a leisured, enlightened society, rich not in material wealth as we understand it, but in knowledge and well-being. The mainstream historical fact that this contradicts is the notion that large-scale, sedentary civilizations inherently required a massive agricultural workforce. Atlantean technology, however, fundamentally reshapes that equation, proposing a path to prosperity and leisure through intelligent resource management and energy manipulation rather than human sweat and tears. It's a compelling vision, offering a glimpse into what might be possible if humanity truly unlocked the secrets of sustainable, energy-rich living. With their mastery of energy, environment, and agriculture, the Atlanteans naturally extended their technological prowess to the very essence of life itself, leading to what can only be described as miraculous medical advancements. Imagine a society where disease was rare, where injuries healed with astonishing speed, and where the human lifespan was dramatically extended, all without invasive surgeries or pharmaceutical cocktails. It's the kind of health system we only dream of today, where a headache isn't just dulled by a pill, but eradicated by a wave of something akin to pure energy. This is a far cry from the leeches and incantations of other ancient cultures, isn't it? The central mystery here lies in the mechanisms of their healing. How did they achieve such profound biological regeneration and immunity? The core of Atlantean medical technology appears to have revolved around focused energy or vibrational frequencies. Utilizing the same principles of resonance they applied to their power grid and levitation. Instead of chemical compounds, they likely used precise energetic emissions, perhaps from handheld orichalcum devices or larger crystalline healing chambers, to restore cellular health, stimulate tissue regeneration, and eliminate pathogens. Think of it as tuning an out-of-tune instrument, but the instrument is a human body. These energies could potentially dissolve blockages, rebalance energetic pathways, and correct cellular damage at a fundamental level, preventing illness before it even manifested, or reversing its effects with incredible speed. It's almost as if they had a biological reset button. Legends often speak of Atlantean healers using crystals, not just as conduits for energy, but as diagnostic tools. These crystals, when attuned to a patient, could supposedly reveal imbalances or nascent diseases long before symptoms appeared. This preventative approach to medicine would have been revolutionary, shifting the focus from treating illness to maintaining optimal health. Rather than waiting for someone to get sick, they could identify and correct subtle energetic discrepancies, keeping their populace vibrant and resilient. It paints a picture of a society where the concept of getting old and frail might have been vastly different, perhaps more akin to a graceful, extended period of wisdom. Furthermore, some accounts hint at Atlantean knowledge of biological manipulation, not through crude genetic splicing, but through influencing the energetic blueprint of an organism. This could explain their reputed ability to heal severe injuries, even regenerating lost limbs, or to significantly extend lifespans far beyond what we consider natural limits. It's a fascinating, if unsettling, thought. What if longevity wasn't a matter of avoiding death, but of actively maintaining vitality through energetic means? The open historiographic mystery here is the absolute lack of any physical evidence, like surgical tools or medical compounds, that would corroborate such advanced biological understanding. This suggests their methods were perhaps entirely non-physical, relying on principles we don't yet fully grasp. The implications of such medical advancements are profound. A society largely free from disease, pain, and the debilitating effects of aging would experience a fundamentally different quality of life. Resources that would otherwise be dedicated to healthcare could be diverted to other pursuits, fostering a vibrant culture of learning, creativity, and exploration. It would also dramatically shift social structures, potentially blurring the lines between generations as age became less of a defining characteristic. The mainstream historical fact that this challenges is the universal human struggle with mortality and illness throughout history. The Atlantean medical model proposes a world where this fundamental human experience was largely transcended, painting a picture of a lost civilization that achieved a level of biological control that remains, for us, firmly in the realm of science fiction, or perhaps a distant future. Beyond mastering the skies and the very essence of biological life, the Atlanteans, armed with their profound understanding of energy and crystalline resonance, are said to have achieved something truly astonishing: weather manipulation. Imagine a civilization that could call forth gentle rains for their crops, dissipate violent storms before they reached their shores, or even temper harsh climates to create idyllic conditions wherever they chose. It's the ultimate dream of any farmer or city planner, isn't it? No more worrying about droughts or hurricanes, just a perfectly calibrated atmosphere, on demand. This isn't just about predicting the weather, it's about controlling it. The core mystery here is the scale and precision with which they could influence such massive, complex atmospheric systems. The underlying principle of Atlantean weather manipulation likely stemmed from their ability to create and direct powerful, localized electromagnetic or acoustic fields using large-scale orichalcum arrays and the crystal grid network. Think of it less as a brute force approach and more like nudging a delicate balance by subtly altering atmospheric pressure, temperature gradients, or even the electrical charge of airborne particles. They could influence cloud formation, precipitation cycles, and wind patterns. For example, a widespread drought might be alleviated by projecting specific frequencies that encourage condensation and gentle rainfall over parched lands. Conversely, if a violent storm was brewing offshore, targeted energy pulses could potentially disrupt its formation or divert its path, sparing coastal communities from devastation. It's almost as if they had a celestial remote control, complete with an undo button for bad weather. This level of environmental control would have had immense societal benefits. With predictable and favorable weather, agricultural yields would be maximized, natural disasters minimized, and overall quality of life significantly enhanced. It also implies a remarkable degree of global awareness and coordination, as weather systems often transcend local boundaries. An interesting open historiographic mystery arises here. If they possessed such power, why didn't they apply it to prevent the very cataclysm that supposedly engulfed them? This leads to speculation about internal conflicts, unintended consequences, or perhaps a sudden event that overwhelmed even their advanced capabilities. Did their weather control have limits? Or did arrogance blind them to the true dangers? Consider the immense energy requirements for such feats. While their orichalcum and crystal network provided abundant power, manipulating global weather patterns would necessitate colossal amounts of energy, perhaps requiring the synchronized activation of multiple major crystal nodes across the continent. This suggests a sophisticated command and control infrastructure, where environmental scientists and engineers worked in concert to maintain planetary harmony. The mainstream historical fact that this directly challenges is the idea that humanity has always been at the mercy of natural forces, developing only rudimentary methods of adaptation. Atlantean weather manipulation posits a civilization that achieved a level of mastery over nature that is still beyond our grasp, even with all our satellites and supercomputers. The ethical implications of such power are also profound. If Atlanteans could control the weather, could they also weaponize it? Could they create droughts in enemy lands or unleash floods upon their adversaries? While the legends often paint a picture of a benevolent and enlightened society, the very existence of such a capability introduces a darker potential, a reminder that even the most advanced technology carries with it the shadow of misuse. One might even imagine a global meteorological council constantly monitoring and adjusting, trying to keep the planet in a perfect, harmonious balance, probably dealing with endless complaints about the humidity. Regardless of its ultimate fate, the concept of Atlantean weather manipulation remains a fascinating example of how their unique technological path could have fundamentally reshaped their world, creating a utopian existence that seems almost too perfect to be true. As Atlantean technological prowess expanded from manipulating energy and the environment to even the very fabric of life, it naturally extended to the less tangible yet equally vital realm of information. This ushered in an age of sophisticated communication and data storage, allowing for instant global connectivity and the preservation of vast reservoirs of knowledge. Imagine not just talking to someone across the ocean as if they were in the next room, but doing so without wires, satellites, or even the internet as we know it, simply through the resonant power of crystals and orichalcum. This wasn't just about sending a message. It was about the instantaneous sharing of consciousness and information. It makes your latest broadband speed seem a bit quaint, doesn't it? The core mystery here is the mechanism by which they achieved such instantaneous and seemingly limitless data transfer and storage, perhaps tapping into principles we are only just beginning to grasp through quantum entanglement. The backbone of Atlantean communication was likely an extension of their ubiquitous crystal grid network. Individual communication devices, perhaps small, handheld crystalline objects, or even built-in architectural features, would have been finely tuned to resonate with specific frequencies transmitted through the larger grid. This allowed for instantaneous, long-distance communication without any discernible lag, regardless of a geographical distance. Think of it as a planet-wide, crystal-powered Wi-Fi network, but infinitely more robust and secure. This wasn't just voice communication. It probably encompassed holographic projections, real-time sensory data sharing, and perhaps even forms of telepathic resonance, where ideas and emotions could be conveyed directly. One could imagine a parent being able to check in on their child from across the continent, or a scholar instantly accessing information from any archive, anywhere. It's enough to make you long for a world without buffering. Beyond simple communication, the Atlanteans also developed unparalleled methods of data storage and knowledge preservation. Their vast libraries were not filled with brittle scrolls or delicate papyri, but with crystalline memory banks capable of holding immense quantities of information in a compact and seemingly indestructible format. These crystal libraries might have stored not just written texts, but sensory experiences, philosophical debates, scientific discoveries, and even the collective wisdom of their ancestors, accessible through direct neural interface or holographic projection. This concept aligns with some theories about Akashic records, a supposed energetic library of all universal events, thoughts, and emotions. The mainstream historical fact that this challenges is the slow, arduous process of knowledge accumulation and dissemination throughout most of human history, reliant on perishable materials and limited communication channels. The preservation of knowledge on this scale would have fostered an incredibly advanced society, capable of building upon past discoveries without fear of loss or decay. Imagine generations of scientists picking up exactly where their predecessors left off, accelerating the pace of innovation exponentially. This continuous flow of information would have contributed to their long lifespans and enlightened perspectives, as wisdom was not merely passed down, but instantaneously shared and absorbed. This leads to an intriguing open historiographic mystery. If they had such perfect data storage, and if remnants of their civilization truly survived the cataclysm, why has none of this incredible knowledge been definitively recovered or deciphered? Was it simply lost to the depths, or is it hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to develop the consciousness or technology capable of accessing it? Furthermore, the Atlanteans' communication technology likely extended beyond their own species. Some legends hint at their ability to communicate with animals, plants, and even the earth itself through an understanding of universal energetic languages. While this verges into the realm of the mystical, it reflects their profound connection to the natural world, facilitated by their technological prowess, whether through direct biological interface or by tuning into the subtle vibrations of living systems. This would have granted them an unprecedented ecological awareness and stewardship. The notion of a shared planetary consciousness, accessed through technology, remains a powerful and tantalizing concept, suggesting that their communication systems were not just tools, but pathways to a deeper universal understanding. Having explored the Atlantean mastery of energy, the environment, personal transport, and global communication, we now arrive at the very epicenter of their technological prowess, the Grand Central Power Core. This wasn't merely a power station. It was the beating heart of Atlantis, a colossal complex described in whispers and fragmented texts as a shimmering, pulsating edifice, radiating a steady, powerful hum that permeated the entire continent. Imagine a machine so immense and so intricate that it seemed to breathe, drawing energy from the very essence of the planet and distributing it with unimaginable efficiency. It's the kind of singular technological achievement that would define an entire civilization, isn't it? The central mystery surrounding this core is not just its existence, but the sheer scale of energy it could generate and control, seemingly from nothing more than the Earth's natural resonance and the enigmatic orichalcum. At the conceptual heart of this immense power source lay a truly colossal concentration of orichalcum, perhaps in its purest, most refined form, intricately interwoven with a lattice of precisely cut and aligned crystals. This core wasn't simply a static battery. It was a dynamic, resonant engine, constantly cycling and amplifying the telluric currents that flowed beneath Atlantis. Think of it as an immense living organism, drawing sustenance from the Earth and exhaling pure, usable energy across the continent. Early accounts suggest this core was housed within a vast circular chamber, often depicted as being directly beneath the main capital city, or even integrated into its very foundations, its presence a constant, comforting thrum beneath the feet of every Atlantean. It makes you wonder what kind of utility bill they had, or if unlimited power really meant no bills at all. The mechanics of this power core, while speculative, likely involved principles of zero-point energy extraction or highly efficient cold fusion, concepts that modern science is only beginning to tentatively explore. Instead of burning fuel or splitting atoms in a chaotic process, the Atlanteans might have understood how to tap into the latent energy present in the very fabric of space-time, or how to coax atoms into fusion without extreme heat and pressure. The orichalcum, in this context, wouldn't just be a conductor, but a catalyst, capable of initiating and sustaining these reactions with perfect control. This level of energy generation would explain their seemingly limitless power supply for everything from levitating cities to weather control, making our current reliance on fossil fuels seem laughably primitive. The Grand Central Power Core also served as the primary nexus for the entire crystal grid network, acting as a colossal amplifier and distribution hub. All the smaller crystal nodes scattered across Atlantis would have been in constant energetic communication with this central core, ensuring a balanced and stable power flow across the entire continent. This highly integrated system meant that localized energy fluctuations could be instantly compensated for, guaranteeing an uninterrupted supply. The open historiographic mystery here is why such an incredible achievement, if it existed, left no more definitive traces. If the core was so massive and central, its destruction would have been catastrophic, potentially leaving a massive crater or geological anomaly. Could the ocean have simply swallowed it whole, leaving no discernible scar? Furthermore, the core was likely protected by layers of advanced shielding and security, not just against external threats, but perhaps also against the immense energies it contained. Legends sometimes speak of guardians or a priestly class dedicated to tending the core, implying a deep understanding of its power and the potential dangers of its misuse. This hints at the immense responsibility that came with such advanced technology, a constant need for careful management and respect for the forces they wielded. One might imagine regular maintenance crews, though perhaps their tools involved focused light and resonant tones rather than wrenches and grease. The mainstream historical fact that this fundamentally contradicts is the general assumption that ancient civilizations lacked the theoretical framework or practical means for large-scale energy generation beyond simple combustion or hydropower. The Atlantean power core suggests a technological leap that bypasses millennia of our own scientific progression, offering a tantalizing glimpse into a different kind of technological evolution. With an understanding of the grand central power core, the very engine of Atlantean civilization, we must now delve into a more nuanced, yet equally critical aspect of their advanced society: the ethical dilemmas of power. Any civilization possessing such immense technological capabilities, the ability to generate limitless energy, manipulate weather, extend life, and even defy gravity, inevitably confronts profound moral choices. Imagine the philosophical debates that must have raged in their crystalline halls. How should such power be used? Who should control it? What are the boundaries, if any, when one can literally reshape the world? It's the ultimate, with great power comes great responsibility scenario, isn't it? The central mystery here isn't if they faced these dilemmas, but how they ultimately resolved them, or perhaps failed to. Initially, the use of orichalcum and the crystal grid network seems to have been guided by principles of harmony and collective well-being. Their early agricultural innovations, the creation of abundant resources, and the development of benevolent medical advancements all point towards a society that used its technological might for the betterment of all. This suggests a strong ethical framework, perhaps rooted in a deep reverence for the earth and the source of their power. They seem to grasp that their existence was intertwined with the planet, not simply dominant over it. This period might have been the true golden age of Atlantis, where technological progress was perfectly balanced with moral wisdom. However, as power grew, so too did its potential for misuse. The ability to manipulate weather, for example, could be used to alleviate drought or to create devastating storms. Aerial vehicles could transport goods or armies. Long lifespans could lead to wisdom or to stagnation and an entrenched elite. This leads to an intriguing open historiographic mystery. Did the very advancements that elevated Atlantis also sow the seeds of its destruction? Many legends hint at a shift in Atlantean character, a move away from their initial benevolence towards arrogance and conquest. Was this a natural byproduct of unchecked power, a kind of technological hubris? Or was it the result of internal factions vying for control over these godlike capabilities? Consider the inherent tension between progress and control. As their technology became more complex and powerful, the knowledge required to wield it likely became more specialized and concentrated. This would inevitably lead to a hierarchy of knowledge, where a select few understood the intricacies of the grand central power core or the nuances of weather manipulation. This concentration of power, even if initially benevolent, carries the inherent risk of corruption. A common mainstream historical fact across human civilizations is that power, regardless of its source, tends to corrupt. The Atlantean narrative suggests they were not immune to this universal truth, despite their seemingly enlightened state. The ethical dilemmas also extended to their interactions with other, less technologically advanced civilizations. If Atlanteans possessed flying machines and energy weapons, how did they interact with neighboring lands? Did they share their knowledge, or did they exert dominance? Some myths depict Atlantis as a benevolent global teacher, while others portray them as an imperialistic power, seeking to subjugate others through their superior might. This conflicting portrayal highlights the enduring debate about the nature of advanced civilizations and their moral compass. It's the classic sci-fi trope. Do you give the caveman a nuclear reactor or just a really good spear? Ultimately, the story of Atlantis, whether fact or fiction, serves as a powerful cautionary tale about the ethical dilemmas of power. It suggests that technological advancement, no matter how extraordinary, is not enough to guarantee a civilization's survival or its moral integrity. The downfall of Atlantis, if it was indeed caused by its own hand, would stand as a stark reminder that true progress lies not just in what we can do with technology, but in the wisdom and restraint with which we choose to wield it. Perhaps the Atlanteans simply got too good at playing God, and the universe, in its own subtle way, decided to pull the plug. The immense technological capabilities of the Atlanteans, particularly their mastery over energy and the environment, profoundly shaped their Atlantean social structure. This wasn't a society built on agrarian toil or industrial labor as we understand it, but one seemingly designed by and for the efficient deployment of advanced technology. Imagine a world where basic needs were met with ease, and much of the drudgery of life was eliminated by automated systems or energy manipulation. How would such a foundation influence who held power, how knowledge was disseminated, and what daily life truly felt like for its citizens? It's a fascinating thought experiment, isn't it? The central mystery here is the precise nature of this society. Was it an enlightened technocracy, a benevolent aristocracy, or something else entirely? One prevailing theory suggests that Atlantean society was a highly organized technocracy, where individuals with the deepest understanding of their advanced sciences, the engineers, the crystal masters, the energy manipulators, held positions of immense influence, if not direct governance. This would make sense, given that the very survival and prosperity of Atlantis depended entirely on the intricate functioning of its power core, crystal grid, and environmental controls. Knowledge, particularly scientific and technical knowledge, would have been the ultimate currency, far surpassing material wealth or military might. This is a stark contrast to many ancient civilizations driven by warrior kings or religious hierarchies, placing the Atlanteans in a unique category. The abundance created by their technological innovations, from endless food supplies to effortlessly constructed habitats, would have likely fostered a society with significant leisure time. Without the constant struggle for sustenance or survival, the Atlantean populace could dedicate themselves to intellectual pursuits, artistic expression, spiritual development, or advanced research. This paints a picture of a highly cultivated and refined society where philosophy, music, and abstract thought flourished. Imagine universities that were less about memorization and more about creative problem-solving and philosophical discourse, all powered by the quiet hum of orichalcum. One might even joke that their biggest societal problem was probably deciding which elaborate crystal sculpture to gaze at next. However, the concentration of complex technological knowledge also implies a distinct hierarchical structure. Access to the most profound scientific secrets, particularly those related to the grand central power core or the more esoteric aspects of energy manipulation, would likely have been restricted to a specialized elite, often referred to in legends as a priestly class or guardians. These individuals would not just be engineers, they would be philosophers, ethicists, and perhaps even spiritual leaders, entrusted with the immense responsibility of wielding godlike power. This leads to an intriguing open historiographic mystery. Did this concentration of power ultimately lead to stagnation, corruption, or a disconnect from the broader populace? The legends vary, sometimes depicting a benevolent stewardship, other times hinting at growing arrogance and a thirst for even greater control. Furthermore, the very nature of their advanced technology might have eliminated many conventional forms of labor. What did the average Atlantean do all day? Perhaps their societal roles were based on talent and inclination rather than necessity, with everyone contributing to the collective good in intellectual or creative capacities. Or perhaps, as in many advanced societies, there were still roles for service, maintenance, or specialized crafts, albeit ones made easier and more efficient by technology. The mainstream historical fact that this contradicts is the historical reliance on large labor forces for major infrastructural projects and food production. Atlantean society suggests a post-scarcity model where human effort was largely redirected from survival to advancement. This would have fundamentally reshaped family structures, education, and the very concept of individual purpose. Ultimately, the Atlantean social structure, shaped so intimately by its secret technology, offers a fascinating glimpse into what a truly advanced society might look like. It presents a world of potential abundance, leisure, and intellectual flourishing, but also hints at the inherent dangers of concentrated power and the potential for a society to become overly reliant on its technological crutches. The echoes of these societal questions resonate even today as we grapple with the increasing automation of our own world. As Atlantis flourished, a beacon of technological prowess and seemingly boundless resources, it inevitably intersected with other, less advanced civilizations. This brings us to the fascinating and often contentious topic of rival civilizations and the profound impact of Atlantean technological superiority on their interactions. Imagine a powerful, technologically advanced nation existing alongside cultures still in their Bronze Age or even Neolithic stages. How would such disparate levels of development affect diplomacy, trade, and even conflict? It's like bringing a smartphone to a Stone Age tribal meeting, isn't it? The central mystery here is the precise nature of these interactions. Were they benevolent and educational, or exploitative and imperialistic? According to various esoteric texts and interpretations of ancient myths, Atlantis was not an isolated island. It was part of a larger global tapestry. Legends speak of Atlantean expeditions reaching distant lands, encountering a diverse array of peoples. These interactions would have been profoundly shaped by Atlantis's technological advantage. Imagine Atlantean aerial vehicles effortlessly traversing continents, their occupants observing and perhaps influencing nascent civilizations. This technological gap would have been so vast that other cultures might have perceived the Atlanteans as gods, bringing unimaginable wonders or wielding terrifying powers. The mainstream historical fact that this challenges is the gradual, often isolated, development of major human civilizations, with significant technological leaps occurring independently or through slow diffusion. The nature of these interactions is a subject of intense debate among proponents of the Atlantean theory. Some believe Atlantis acted as a benevolent global mentor, sharing aspects of their knowledge such as agricultural techniques, sophisticated building methods, or even basic principles of governance and philosophy. This theory suggests that Atlantean emissaries helped uplift other cultures, explaining the sudden, unexplained bursts of architectural and astronomical knowledge seen in various ancient societies, like the precision of the pyramids or the advanced calendars of Mesoamerica. Perhaps the Olmecs weren't just brilliant on their own. Maybe they had a few incredibly well-meaning Atlantean consultants. However, other interpretations paint a darker picture, suggesting that Atlantis, driven by its growing arrogance and desire for resources, engaged in imperialistic expansion. With their superior weaponry, perhaps energy-based devices or advanced aerial bombardments, they could have easily subdued less powerful nations, establishing a vast, technologically enforced empire. This would explain the widespread fear of advanced, godlike beings in certain ancient mythologies, or the sudden disappearance of some cultures that might have resisted Atlantean domination. The ethical dilemmas of power, discussed earlier, would certainly come into play here, raising the question of whether their advanced technology ultimately led to their moral decline and conflict with others. An intriguing open historiographic mystery centers on the sea peoples or other migrating populations often mentioned in ancient Egyptian and Mediterranean records. Could some of these powerful, technologically distinct groups have been Atlantean refugees, or even remnants of their rival civilizations displaced by the cataclysm or ongoing conflicts with Atlantis? This would provide a tangible link, however tenuous, between the Atlantean legend and documented historical events. The idea that Atlantean technology, even in fragments, could have dramatically impacted the balance of power in the ancient world is a captivating one, suggesting hidden forces at play in the formation of early empires and the movements of peoples. Ultimately, the interactions between Atlantis and rival civilizations, whether benevolent or aggressive, underscore the profound impact that a technologically superior society would have on its contemporaries. It's a reminder that technological advantage is a double-edged sword, capable of both elevating and destroying. The stories of these interactions, shrouded in myth and academic speculation, offer a powerful lens through which to examine themes of power, influence, and the complex, often fraught, relationship between different stages of human development. Having explored the grandeur of Atlantean technology and its societal implications, we now arrive at the most dramatic and enigmatic chapter in their story, the Great Deluge Theories. This is where the whispers of myth crash against the hard shores of geological possibility, attempting to reconcile the incredible tales of a lost continent with the overwhelming evidence of a global catastrophe. Imagine a civilization at its zenith, suddenly engulfed not just by a localized disaster, but by an event of such titanic scale that it reshaped the very surface of the Earth. It's the ultimate too big to fail, but it did moment, isn't it? The core mystery here is less about if a deluge occurred, but how it connected to Atlantis and, critically, whether their own secret technology played a role in their ultimate demise. Many ancient cultures across the globe, from the Sumerians and the biblical narratives to the indigenous peoples of the Americas, share remarkably similar tales of a great flood that wiped out an earlier, advanced human civilization. This mainstream historical fact of pervasive flood myths lends a certain weight to the Atlantean narrative, suggesting a shared, traumatic memory across humanity. The sheer consistency of these stories, often featuring divine displeasure, a righteous few surviving, and a world transformed, makes it difficult to dismiss them as mere coincidence. The open historiographic mystery lies in pinpointing the actual geological event or series of events that could account for such widespread destruction and how it might correspond to the timeline of Atlantis. Several scientific theories have been proposed to explain such a cataclysm, ranging from rapid climate change and melting ice caps, leading to massive sea level rise, to meteorite impacts causing tsunamis of unimaginable scale, or even sudden pole shifts altering the Earth's axis and redistributing oceanic masses. Each theory presents its own challenges and evidence. For example, the Younger Dryas impact theory posits a cometary impact around 12,900 years ago, leading to abrupt global cooling and subsequent rapid warming and ice melt. This time frame often aligns with many proposed dates for Atlantis' destruction. The chilling thought is whether the Atlanteans, with all their weather manipulation and environmental control, were simply overwhelmed by a force far beyond even their advanced capabilities. However, a more unsettling theory, directly linking the deluge to Atlantean secret technology, centers on the concept of technological hubris and misuse. As discussed, the Atlanteans wielded immense power, including the ability to manipulate telluric currents through their grand central power core and crystalline network. What if, in their arrogance or through some catastrophic miscalculation, they overstressed the planetary energy grid? Imagine an experimental manipulation of the Earth's core energies that went horribly wrong, perhaps leading to unprecedented seismic activity, volcanic eruptions, and ultimately, a sudden, rapid subsidence of land masses, pulling Atlantis beneath the waves. It's the ultimate playing with fire scenario. Only the fire is the molten heart of the planet. One might even joke that they accidentally hit the self-destruct button on their entire continent. This theory suggests that the Great Deluge was not merely a natural disaster, but a techno-geological catastrophe of their own making. Perhaps their weather manipulation systems, designed for control, spiraled out of control, generating unprecedented storms that contributed to the rising waters. Or maybe a conflict with a rival civilization escalated to the point where energy-based weapons were unleashed, inadvertently triggering global destabilization. The legends of Atlantis often carry a moralistic tone, implying that their downfall was a punishment for their pride and impiety. If their technology was the direct cause, it adds a profound layer of tragedy and warning to the myth. Regardless of the precise mechanism, the Great Deluge represents the ultimate test of Atlantean resilience and the tragic end of their known civilization. It leaves us with the haunting question: were they victims of an unpredictable cosmic event, or did their unparalleled technological advancements, coupled with moral failings, ultimately lead them to pull the plug on themselves? The echoes of this cataclysm continue to resonate in our collective unconscious, a powerful reminder of the fragility of even the grandest empires when faced with the overwhelming forces of nature, or the unpredictable consequences of unchecked ambition. If the Atlanteans possessed such immense power, capable of manipulating weather and even the Earth's core energies, it's inevitable to consider the more destructive applications of their secret technology. This brings us to the chilling topic of the weaponry of Atlantis. While legends often paint Atlantis as a utopian society, the realities of power dynamics, especially in interactions with rival civilizations, as we discussed, suggest that defensive and perhaps offensive capabilities would have been a stark necessity. Imagine a civilization with the ability to project energy blasts, create localized seismic events, or even deploy silent flying craft for surveillance or attack. It's like bringing a laser cannon to a sword fight, isn't it? The central mystery here is the true extent of their destructive capabilities, and whether these played a direct role in their eventual demise. The foundation of Atlantean weaponry would undoubtedly have been their mastery of orichalcum and directed energy. Instead of crude projectiles or explosive chemicals, their weapons would have likely harnessed focused beams of energy capable of disintegrating targets, generating intense heat, or creating powerful shockwaves. Picture a death ray not as a cartoonish beam, but as a silent, invisible wave of energy that could effortlessly cut through stone or vaporize metal. Smaller handheld devices might have been used for personal defense or specialized tasks, while larger city-mounted arrays or even integrated components of their aerial vehicles could have delivered devastating blows. It's enough to make you grateful our ancient ancestors mostly just threw rocks. Beyond direct energy projection, the Atlanteans might have developed weaponry based on acoustic resonance or vibrational frequencies. Just as they could use sound and vibration to heal or to manipulate materials for construction, they could theoretically apply the same principles destructively. Imagine a resonant frequency capable of destabilizing an enemy structure, causing it to crumble to dust, or even inducing debilitating effects on living organisms from a distance. This kind of vibrational warfare would be incredibly difficult to defend against and would leave little traditional archaeological evidence. The open historiographic mystery here is whether the widespread destruction attributed to Atlantis in some myths was indeed a result of internal conflict or external warfare utilizing such devastating technologies. The application of their weather manipulation technology also presents a terrifying potential for weaponization. While discussed as a benevolent tool for agriculture, the ability to summon droughts, unleash torrential floods, or direct lightning strikes upon an adversary would have been a devastating strategic asset. This would blur the lines between natural disaster and deliberate attack, making it difficult for opponents to even understand what was happening to them. This adds another layer to the Great Deluge theories, raising the possibility that the final cataclysm was exacerbated or even triggered by the unintended consequences of weaponized environmental control. Furthermore, their aerial vehicles wouldn't just be for transport. They could serve as stealthy reconnaissance platforms or rapid deployment systems for these energy weapons. Imagine silent, hovering craft delivering precision strikes or acting as mobile command centers, directing an invisible barrage of destructive energy. The mainstream historical fact that this contradicts is the notion that ancient warfare was primarily characterized by close-quarters combat, siege engines, and relatively primitive projectiles. Atlantean weaponry suggests a form of warfare that aligns more with our modern concepts of precision strikes and WMDs than with ancient battlefields. The very existence of such powerful weaponry presents a profound ethical question. Did the Atlanteans, despite their supposed enlightenment, succumb to the same destructive impulses that have plagued humanity throughout history? The legends often speak of a gradual moral decay, a descent into materialism and conquest. Perhaps the development and deployment of these advanced weapons were a symptom of that decline, ultimately leading to a conflict, either internal or external, that spiraled out of control and contributed to their self-inflicted demise. The sheer destructive potential of their secret technology is a stark reminder that even the most brilliant innovations can be twisted to the darkest ends. If the Atlanteans truly possessed such incredible secret technology, leading to societal change and potentially devastating weaponry, then it stands to reason that there might have been the warning signs of their impending doom. Civilizations, even advanced ones, rarely vanish without some precursor, some tremor of instability or prophetic whisper. Imagine a highly intelligent society, capable of predicting geological shifts and environmental patterns, yet seemingly unable to avert its own catastrophic end. What might those omens have been? Was it ecological degradation, societal unrest, or perhaps even prophetic visions that went unheeded? It's the ultimate "we told you so" moment. If only someone had listened, isn't it? The central mystery here is discerning what specific warnings, if any, manifested and why. Despite their advanced knowledge, the Atlanteans failed to respond effectively. One prominent theory suggests that the earliest warning signs were environmental imbalances, subtle at first, then escalating. Despite their ability to manipulate weather, perhaps their massive energy demands or certain technological experiments began to subtly destabilize the planetary equilibrium. Increased seismic activity, unusual weather phenomena that their technology struggled to mitigate, or even unexplained shifts in ocean currents could have been early indicators. The crystal grid network, though powerful, might have put an unforeseen strain on the Earth's natural energies, leading to unforeseen consequences. This is a mainstream historical fact for many collapsing civilizations. Over-exploitation of resources or environmental mismanagement often precedes decline. For the Atlanteans, this might have been a more insidious, technologically induced environmental feedback loop. Beyond environmental indicators, there might have been significant societal unrest or moral decay. As discussed in the ethical dilemmas section, the concentration of power, the potential for materialism, and perhaps even the dehumanizing effects of excessive automation could have led to internal strife. Legends sometimes speak of a division within Atlantean society, a benevolent faction upholding ancient wisdom versus a more materialistic, power-hungry group. This internal conflict could have manifested as social inequality, political instability, or a gradual erosion of their initial ethical principles. A civilization fractured from within might be too preoccupied with internal struggles to adequately address external threats or subtle warning signs, much like trying to navigate a ship through a storm while the crew is in a mutiny. Prophetic visions or spiritual warnings also feature prominently in various accounts. Many ancient myths speak of seers or oracles who foresaw the downfall of powerful cities or empires. For the Atlanteans, with their advanced understanding of consciousness and potentially heightened intuitive abilities, these warnings might have been more frequent and vivid. Perhaps certain individuals or a specific priestly order received clear messages of impending doom, either through dreams, meditative states, or even direct communication with the planetary intelligence they claim to understand. The open historiographic mystery lies in why these warnings, if they were indeed given, were ultimately ignored or dismissed. Was it arrogance, disbelief, or simply the inertia of a powerful civilization that believed itself invincible? Furthermore, there could have been technological malfunctions or unintended consequences that served as direct warnings. Imagine minor system failures in the Grand Central Power Core, inexplicable disruptions in the crystal grid network, or even a brief loss of levitation in their aerial vehicles. These wouldn't be mere glitches. They would be terrifying indicators that their foundational technology, the very bedrock of their civilization, was becoming unstable. Perhaps, the more they pushed the boundaries of energy manipulation, the more volatile their systems became, leading to a series of escalating incidents that foreshadowed the ultimate collapse. It's like your car making a strange knocking sound, but the car is an entire continent. The story of the warning signs of Atlantis, though largely speculative, offers a powerful lesson. It suggests that even the most advanced technology cannot shield a civilization from the consequences of its actions, whether those are environmental neglect, moral failings, or simply pushing the boundaries of existence too far. The tragic irony would be that a civilization so adept at control and prediction could not predict or control its own self-destruction, blinded by its own brilliance until the very end. Beyond the grand theories of energy, flight, and societal structure, the very tangible evidence of Atlantean genius, if it existed, would be found in their monumental constructions. This brings us to the realm of their architectural marvels, structures so grand and intricate, they would redefine our understanding of ancient building capabilities. Imagine cities built with perfectly interlocking stones, colossal temples that seem to defy gravity, and underwater complexes shimmering with an ethereal light, all erected with a precision that makes our modern methods seem clumsy. It's like comparing a child's Lego castle to a skyscraper built by invisible forces, isn't it? The central mystery here is how they achieved such incredible scale and precision without the heavy machinery and advanced techniques we consider indispensable today. The key to Atlantean architectural prowess undoubtedly lay in their mastery of levitation and energy manipulation, skills directly derived from their understanding of orichalcum and the crystal grid network. Instead of quarrying massive stones and painstakingly hauling them into place, they could simply float colossal blocks of material, guiding them with silent, unseen forces. This allowed them to work with materials of immense size and weight that would be impossible for conventional ancient civilizations to manage, explaining the legends of Cyclopean architecture found in various parts of the world, often attributed to giants or gods. Imagine a construction site where multi-ton slabs of granite hovered into their perfectly aligned positions, clicking into place with effortless grace. It would certainly make building a shed seem like a monumental task by comparison. Furthermore, Atlantean builders likely possessed an advanced understanding of material science, allowing them to create or modify building materials with unprecedented properties. This could explain the legends of living stone or self-repairing structures. Perhaps they could infuse natural stone with specific energetic frequencies, enhancing its durability, making it lighter, or even allowing it to grow and self-assemble to some extent. Orichalcum itself, with its unique properties, might have been integrated into the very fabric of their most important buildings, providing structural integrity and perhaps even contributing to ambient energy and illumination. The mainstream historical fact this challenges is the slow evolution of building techniques from simple stone stacking to complex engineering with arches and concrete. Atlantean architecture suggests a fundamental shortcut, a complete paradigm shift in construction. The scale of their architecture is consistently emphasized in the myths. Vast harbors with intricate docking systems, towering central palaces shimmering with the light of orichalcum, and concentric rings of land and water meticulously engineered. These weren't just functional, they were breathtakingly beautiful, often adorned with precious metals and intricate carvings. This suggests a society that placed immense value on aesthetics and symbolic representation in their built environment. An intriguing open historiographic mystery revolves around the precise nature of the rings described by Plato. Were they physical concentric landmasses, or perhaps energy fields, or even symbolic representations of their societal structure? The answer would provide invaluable clues to their engineering capabilities. Beyond the visible structures, Atlantean architectural marvels likely extended to the subterranean habitats we discussed earlier, showcasing their ability to carve and sustain vast, complex underground environments. This seamless integration of above-ground grandeur and subterranean sanctuary demonstrates a holistic approach to urban planning, considering both defense and comfort. The sheer sophistication implied by these achievements, not just the ability to lift heavy objects, but to design, plan, and execute such vast and intricate projects, points to an advanced understanding of engineering, city planning, and long-term societal needs. It's almost enough to make you think our modern construction projects are just glorified sandcastles. The enduring legacy of these supposed architectural wonders, even if only in myth, speaks to a vision of human capability that continues to inspire and challenge our understanding of what was possible in the ancient world. Having explored the Atlanteans' mastery over land, sky, and their own well-being, it's only natural that a maritime civilization, even one with advanced aerial capabilities, would also conquer the depths. This brings us to their incredible abilities in submarine exploration, an aspect of their secret technology that allowed them to navigate and exploit the vast, mysterious realms beneath the ocean's surface with unparalleled ease. Imagine silent, pressure-defying vessels gliding through the abyssal plains, illuminated by internal light, exploring sunken trenches and hidden grottos that remain utterly inaccessible to us even today. It's like having a deep-sea submersible that doesn't need to surface for months, doesn't it? The core mystery here is how they overcame the crushing pressures and darkness of the deep, and what secrets they sought or discovered within the ocean's embrace. The cornerstone of Atlantean submarine exploration would have been their profound understanding of material science and energy fields, derived from their core technologies. Their vessels wouldn't be rigid, heavy submarines as we know them, relying on immense steel hulls to withstand pressure. Instead, they might have employed localized energy shields or manipulated gravitational fields to create a stable, habitable bubble within the ocean's depths, effectively neutralizing the external pressure. This would allow for lighter, more agile craft, perhaps constructed from specialized, transparent materials that offered panoramic views of the underwater world. This is a far cry from the cramped, rivet-laden submersibles of our own technological journey. One can almost picture them, gliding past bioluminescent creatures, completely unfazed by the immense environment. These advanced subsurface vehicles would have been powered by scaled-down orichalcum cores, drawing energy from the surrounding water, or even the subtle telluric currents that run through the ocean floor. This self-sustaining energy source would allow for incredibly long endurance missions, freeing them from the constraints of fuel and frequent surfacing. Imagine scientific expeditions lasting for months, meticulously mapping the ocean floor, studying unique marine life, or perhaps even discovering ancient geological formations and resources. The open historiographic mystery lies in what they did with this capability. Did they discover other advanced underwater civilizations, or perhaps find rare deep-sea resources that further fueled their technological development? Their exploration wasn't just about scientific curiosity. It likely had strategic and resource-oriented goals. The oceans hold vast, untapped mineral wealth, unique biological resources, and potential sites of geothermal energy. Atlanteans, with their advanced mining and energy extraction techniques, could have accessed these deep-sea riches, further enhancing their already abundant resources. This would explain how a powerful island nation could sustain such immense technological enterprises without depleting their land-based resources. It's almost as if they had a global underwater supermarket. The ability to operate effectively beneath the waves would also have provided a significant military advantage. Stealthy underwater vessels could conduct reconnaissance, transport troops or equipment undetected, or even launch sophisticated energy-based weapons from beneath the surface. This adds another layer to their weaponry and the concept of rival civilizations, suggesting that their conflicts might not have been confined to land and air. The mainstream historical fact that this contradicts is the notion that deep-sea exploration and sustained underwater habitation are relatively modern achievements, requiring significant technological breakthroughs in material science and life support. Atlantean submarine technology suggests a mastery over the aquatic environment that predates our own by millennia, offering a tantalizing glimpse into a different kind of naval power. Ultimately, Atlantean submarine exploration showcases their comprehensive dominion over their environment. It paints a picture of a civilization that didn't just live on an island, but lived with the ocean, understanding its depths and exploiting its potential in ways we are only now beginning to comprehend. The silent, powerful gliders navigating the abyssal darkness remain a potent symbol of their lost brilliance, a testament to what might lie hidden beneath the vast, unexplored waters of our own world. With their mastery extending from the very heart of the earth to the deepest oceans, it's a small yet profound leap to consider the Atlanteans' potential command over life itself. This brings us to the fascinating and perhaps unsettling realm of genetic engineering and life extension. Imagine a society not only capable of curing diseases and regenerating limbs, but of influencing the very blueprint of life. perhaps even extending their own lifespans dramatically or enhancing their innate capabilities. It's the ultimate designer human concept, isn't it? The central mystery here is the extent to which they manipulated biological forms and the ethical framework that guided such extraordinary power. The foundation of Atlantean genetic understanding would likely stem from their deep knowledge of vibrational frequencies and subtle energy fields. Instead of direct manipulation of DNA strands with molecular tools, as we envision modern genetic engineering, Atlanteans might have influenced genetic expression and cellular processes through targeted energetic emissions. Imagine an energy field capable of correcting genetic predispositions to disease or optimizing cellular regeneration to slow down the aging process. This is less about cutting and pasting genes and more about harmonizing the energetic blueprint of life itself, ensuring perfect cellular function and replication. It's a concept that transcends our current biochemical understanding, suggesting a more holistic, energetic approach to biology. One might even joke that they had the world's most sophisticated, good vibes only machine for your DNA. This profound understanding of biological energies would directly lead to remarkable life extension. If cells could be continuously rejuvenated and damage perpetually repaired, the natural aging process could be significantly slowed, perhaps allowing Atlanteans to live for centuries in full vitality. This isn't just about prolonging existence, but about extending a period of peak intellectual and physical capacity, allowing for the accumulation of vast knowledge and wisdom across multiple generations within a single lifetime. This would fundamentally reshape their society, as individuals would have unparalleled opportunities for learning, specialization, and contribution. The mainstream historical fact this challenges is the universal human experience of a relatively fixed and often short lifespan, a biological constraint that has shaped human history. Furthermore, some esoteric accounts hint at Atlantean abilities to enhance innate human capabilities, or even create new biological forms. This doesn't necessarily mean creating fantastical beasts, but perhaps subtly improving cognitive function, sensory perception, or physical resilience within their own populace. This could explain why Atlanteans are often depicted as being highly intelligent, intuitive, or even possessing certain psychic abilities. If they could gently nudge the evolutionary process, what kind of beings might they have become? The open historiographic mystery here is the ethical boundary. Did they apply these capabilities only to themselves, or did they perhaps uplift other species, or even subtly influence other human populations they encountered? The ethical implications of such advanced genetic capabilities are, of course, immense. Who decides what constitutes enhancement? What happens to those who are not enhanced? Did this lead to further stratification within Atlantean society, or even affect their interactions with other cultures? The narratives often suggest a period of benevolent application followed by a descent into hubris, where the power to shape life itself might have led to dangerous experimentation or a belief in their own divine right. It's the classic Frankenstein scenario, but on a societal scale. While no definitive archaeological evidence of Atlantean genetic laboratories exists, the very concept forces us to reconsider the potential limits of ancient science. If their technology operated on principles of energy and vibration, rather than crude molecular tools. It would leave very different, perhaps undetectable, traces. The whispers of Atlantean genetic engineering and life extension remain a captivating aspect of their legend, painting a picture of a civilization that pushed the boundaries of what it means to be alive, and in doing so, perhaps inadvertently tampered with forces beyond their ultimate control. After exploring the incredible, and sometimes unsettling, heights of Atlantean technology, from energy manipulation to genetic engineering, one critical question remains. How was all this knowledge preserved and transmitted? This leads us to the tantalizing concept of the Atlantis scrolls. Not necessarily literal scrolls in the parchment sense, but rather a metaphorical representation of their vast and sophisticated methods of knowledge preservation. Imagine not dusty archives, but crystalline memory banks, or even energetic imprints, holding the entirety of their scientific, historical, and philosophical wisdom. It's the ultimate lost library, isn't it? The central mystery here is the precise form these records took, and whether any fragments of this knowledge could possibly have survived the cataclysm. As we touched upon in the section on communication and data storage, the Atlanteans likely eschewed perishable forms of record keeping for more durable and infinitely more capacious methods. Their primary means of information storage would have been through crystalline memory banks, utilizing the same advanced understanding of crystal properties that powered their cities and vehicles. These crystals, perhaps specially grown or energetically infused, could have stored vast amounts of data in a non-physical resonant form. Imagine a single, perfectly cut crystal holding the equivalent of all the world's current digital libraries, accessible not through a keyboard, but perhaps through direct neural interface or holographic projection. It makes our terabyte hard drives look like abacuses. These scrolls, or crystalline records, would have contained the entire compendium of Atlantean knowledge, intricate schematics for their orichalcum devices, detailed maps of their crystal grid network, philosophical treatises on the ethics of power, medical protocols for regeneration, and perhaps even historical accounts of their interactions with other civilizations. Such a system would ensure that knowledge was not easily lost or corrupted, allowing for continuous scientific and intellectual progression across millennia. This is a mainstream historical fact that often plagues human civilization: the fragility of knowledge due to wars, natural disasters, or simply the decay of materials. The Atlanteans, if these legends are true, overcame this fundamental limitation. The preservation of this knowledge would have been paramount, particularly for a society that understood the cyclical nature of planetary events and the potential for cataclysm. It's plausible that redundant copies of these crystalline archives were distributed across various subterranean habitats, or even secreted away in hidden locations globally, designed to survive even the most devastating of events. This leads to an intriguing open historiographic mystery. If such knowledge caches existed, could they still be hidden, waiting to be rediscovered by a humanity technologically and spiritually mature enough to comprehend them? This is the driving force behind many modern searches for lost Atlantean artifacts, not for gold, but for wisdom. Furthermore, the Atlantis scrolls might not have been purely technological. Given their emphasis on spiritual development and their connection to the Earth's energies, these records could have contained profound insights into consciousness, universal laws, and the very nature of reality. They might have chronicled their spiritual evolution, their understanding of the cosmos, and perhaps even warnings about the perils of unchecked technological advancement without corresponding moral development. It's the kind of comprehensive knowledge that could fast-track humanity's evolution. If only we could find the key. The enduring myth of the Atlantis scrolls, whether literal crystals or metaphorical repositories of wisdom, highlights humanity's deep-seated belief in a lost golden age of knowledge. It implies that somewhere, perhaps deep beneath the waves or buried in forgotten caverns, there might exist a blueprint for a different kind of future. A future built on wisdom and sustainable technology, rather than the cycles of destruction and rediscovery that have defined much of our own history. The quest for these lost scrolls continues to fuel the imaginations of researchers, adventurers, and dreamers, each hoping to unlock the secrets of a civilization that soared and then plunged into the depths of legend. Following the catastrophic Great Deluge, the story of Atlantis doesn't simply end. It reverberates through time, leaving tantalizing post-cataclysmic echoes that suggest its profound influence on later emerging civilizations. Imagine a world reeling from a global catastrophe, with pockets of survivors from a highly advanced society finding themselves among struggling primitive cultures. How would fragments of their unparalleled technology or deeply ingrained knowledge trickle down, inspiring legends and perhaps accelerating the development of post-Diluvian humanity? It's like discovering a broken supercomputer and trying to piece together its secrets with only a few scattered circuit boards, isn't it? The central mystery here is the extent to which Atlantean knowledge, even unknowingly, shaped the trajectory of subsequent human history. One of the most persistent echoes is the widespread appearance of advanced architectural and astronomical knowledge in seemingly disparate ancient cultures that emerged millennia after the supposed fall of Atlantis. Think of the precise stonemasonry of the Incas, the impossible pyramids of Egypt, or the sophisticated astronomical alignments found in sites like Stonehenge. These structures often display a level of engineering, mathematical understanding, and celestial observation that appears to leapfrog the conventional timeline of human development. Could Atlantean survivors, perhaps small groups of engineers, scientists, or priests, have seeded these nascent cultures with fragments of their forgotten wisdom? This is a mainstream historical fact that often perplexes archaeologists. The sudden emergence of highly complex skills in certain ancient societies without clear evolutionary precursors. The influence wouldn't necessarily be direct instruction. It could have been through myth and legend, where the stories of Atlantean power and advanced technology were passed down, inspiring later generations to strive for what they perceived as divine capabilities. Imagine tales of flying machines sparking dreams of flight, or stories of limitless energy encouraging experiments with crystals and natural forces. These narratives, distorted and embellished over millennia, could have become the foundation for religious beliefs, magical practices, or even early scientific inquiries. It's almost as if the Atlantean myth itself was a kind of genetic code, carrying latent instructions for future progress. Furthermore, there's the intriguing possibility of lost technologies being rediscovered or reinterpreted. Perhaps certain Atlantean artifacts, like small orichalcum devices or fragments of crystalline memory banks, survived the deluge, and were later stumbled upon by developing civilizations. These artifacts, though perhaps no longer fully functional, could have served as profound inspiration, sparking new lines of inquiry or leading to the development of rudimentary versions of Atlantean technology based on observation rather than deep understanding. An open historiographic mystery centers on the unexplained artifacts found in various archaeological digs that seem out of place for their supposed time period. Metallic spheres, intricate lenses, or unidentifiable mechanisms. Could these be the scattered remnants of Atlantean influence? The very concept of a golden age, or a paradise lost, in numerous ancient myths, also serves as a potent echo of Atlantis. These stories often speak of a time when gods or godlike beings walked the earth, possessing immense power and living in harmony. While these could be purely allegorical, their widespread prevalence suggests a collective memory of a highly advanced, pre-cataclysmic civilization. It's the kind of wistful longing for a past that was grander, more enlightened, and technologically superior. It makes you wonder if our own dreams of a utopian future are simply echoes of a forgotten past. Ultimately, the post-cataclysmic echoes of Atlantis serve as a powerful testament to the enduring impact of a truly advanced civilization, even in its supposed destruction. They suggest that knowledge, once attained, is rarely entirely lost, but rather transforms, adapts, and influences in myriad ways, shaping the very course of human destiny, long after its original source has vanished beneath the waves of time and legend. While the whispers of Atlantean influence resonate through ancient myths and unexplained archaeological anomalies, the pursuit of tangible proof continues to drive modern inquiry. This brings us to the exciting and often controversial topic of hidden remnants, the ongoing search for physical evidence of Atlantean technology and civilization that might have survived the Great Deluge. Imagine researchers using advanced sonar and submersible technology, not just to map the ocean floor, but to peer through layers of sediment and uncover the lost cities and technological marvels of a forgotten world. It's like searching for a needle in a haystack, only the haystack is an entire ocean, and the needle is made of orichalcum, isn't it? The central mystery here is where, precisely, these remnants might lie, and what methods are being employed to find them. The most obvious, yet most challenging, place to search for Atlantean remnants is, of course, beneath the ocean. If Atlantis truly sank, then its cities and advanced infrastructure would lie kilometers beneath the waves, potentially buried under millennia of accumulated sediment. This requires incredibly sophisticated deep-sea exploration technologies, including high-resolution sonar mapping, remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, capable of withstanding immense pressures, and even autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs, that can survey vast areas. Sites like the Bimini Road, a puzzling underwater rock formation off the coast of Bimini in the Bahamas, have fueled speculation, though mainstream archaeology attributes it to natural causes. Still, the persistence of such theories highlights the longing for concrete evidence. Beyond the ocean floor, other theories propose that Atlantean remnants might exist in geologically stable areas that were once connected to the continent, or in regions that experienced less drastic subsidence. This could include parts of the Mediterranean, the Atlantic mid-ocean ridge, or even certain Caribbean islands. The idea is that not all of Atlantis would have sunk evenly, leaving some higher elevations or particularly robust structures intact, albeit submerged or partially buried. This approach involves studying ancient coastlines, analyzing seismic data for unusual subsurface anomalies, and even re-examining existing archaeological sites for clues that might have been overlooked or misinterpreted. It's like searching for a lost sock, only the sock is a technologically advanced civilization. Another intriguing avenue of search involves unexplained ancient artifacts found globally that defy conventional archaeological explanations. These include the Antikythera mechanism, an astonishingly complex astronomical calculator from ancient Greece, or the Baghdad battery, which some believe was an early electrical device. While these are usually attributed to independent human ingenuity, proponents of Atlantean influence suggest they could be localized rediscoveries or attempts to replicate a lost Atlantean principle. The mainstream historical fact these discoveries often highlight is the occasional leap of advanced knowledge that appears almost out of context in the archaeological record, hinting at forgotten skills or influences. The challenges in finding these hidden remnants are immense. The sheer scale of the ocean, the difficulty of operating at extreme depths, and the natural processes of erosion and sedimentation mean that any surviving structures would be deeply buried and difficult to distinguish from natural formations. Furthermore, the very nature of Atlantean technology, often described as energy-based rather than purely mechanical, might mean fewer durable, recognizable artifacts were left behind. An open historiographic mystery centers on the interpretation of existing underwater anomalies. Are we simply seeing natural rock formations, or are we failing to recognize the unique signature of an ancient, non-terrestrial, in our modern sense, technology? Ultimately, the quest for the hidden remnants of Atlantis represents humanity's enduring fascination with lost civilizations and our own potential. It's a pursuit that bridges science, archaeology, and pure imagination, driven by the tantalizing possibility that beneath the waves, or hidden in plain sight, lies the physical proof of a civilization that once soared and then tragically fell, carrying its secrets into the deep. The search for Atlantean remnants, while challenging, fuels a vibrant global community of researchers, adventurers, and enthusiasts. This brings us to the modern-day quest, detailing the contemporary efforts to decode the Atlantean mystery, blending cutting-edge science with dedicated exploration. Imagine teams of scientists employing advanced geophysical tools, historians re-examining ancient texts, and independent explorers diving into uncharted waters, all driven by the elusive promise of uncovering the greatest lost civilization. It's like a real-life treasure hunt, only the treasure is knowledge that could rewrite history, isn't it? The central mystery here is not if people are searching, but how their approaches are evolving and what tantalizing clues are emerging from these concerted efforts. Modern researchers are employing a diverse array of scientific methods in their pursuit. This includes advanced sonar and LiDAR mapping of the ocean floor, particularly in areas historically associated with Atlantean legends, like the Atlantic Ocean Basin or the Caribbean Sea. These technologies can penetrate water and, to some extent, even shallow sediment, revealing unusual geological formations that might warrant further investigation. Geophysical surveys, using techniques like seismic reflection, can provide detailed images of subsurface structures, potentially identifying artificial constructions beneath layers of rock and sediment. It's like giving the ocean an MRI, looking for anything that doesn't quite fit the natural geological pattern. One might even joke that they're hoping for a clear ping that spells "Welcome to Atlantis, Estos 12,000 BCE." Beyond direct underwater exploration, the modern quest involves an interdisciplinary approach to re-evaluating ancient texts and mythological narratives. Scholars are applying new linguistic tools, archaeological methodologies, and even computational analysis to old stories, searching for consistent patterns, common geographical markers, or technological descriptions that transcend mere fantasy. The goal is to separate the mythological embellishments from potential kernels of historical truth. For example, comparing the flood myths across dozens of cultures using statistical analysis to identify commonalities could point to a shared real-world event. This is a mainstream historical fact. The increasing academic interest in interdisciplinary studies to solve historical puzzles, often bridging folklore with hard science. Independent explorers and private research foundations also play a significant role, often with more freedom to pursue unconventional theories than academic institutions. These groups frequently utilize privately funded submersibles and remote sensing equipment, sometimes focusing on controversial sites like the aforementioned Bimini Road or other enigmatic underwater structures. While their findings often face skepticism from the mainstream, their persistence keeps the public conversation alive and sometimes uncovers new, intriguing data points that warrant further scientific scrutiny. It's like a global detective agency, with everyone looking for the same elusive culprit. An intriguing open historiographic mystery that permeates the modern quest is the tantalizing question of technological resonance. If Atlantean technology operated on principles of energy, vibration, or subtle physics, could there be residual energetic signatures still emanating from potential submerged sites? Modern physics is increasingly exploring concepts like quantum entanglement and zero-point energy. Could future technologies, perhaps based on these very principles, be the key to detecting what conventional tools cannot? It's a speculative but compelling thought. Perhaps we need to build Atlantean-like technology to find Atlantean technology. Ultimately, the modern-day quest for Atlantis is a testament to humanity's unyielding curiosity and its inherent desire to understand its own origins. It's a dynamic blend of rigorous scientific inquiry, speculative exploration, and the powerful pull of a legend that refuses to fade. Each sonar ping, each reread ancient text, each deep-sea dive adds another layer to this enduring mystery, keeping the dream of Atlantis alive and pushing the boundaries of what we believe possible. As we reflect on the potential wonders of Atlantis and the ongoing quest to uncover its secrets, a profound truth emerges from the depths of its mythical past: the lessons from Atlantis. This isn't merely a tale of a lost civilization. It's a powerful cautionary narrative, a mirror reflecting our own trajectory with advanced technology, and a timeless reminder of the delicate balance between progress and wisdom. Imagine a story passed down through millennia, not just for entertainment, but as a dire warning etched into the collective unconscious of humanity. It's the ultimate historical "don't try this at home" message, isn't it? The central mystery here is whether humanity, in its relentless pursuit of technological advancement, will heed these ancient lessons or repeat the perceived mistakes of the Atlanteans. One of the most significant lessons is the perilous nature of unchecked technological hubris. The Atlanteans, with their mastery over energy, weather, and even life itself, might have grown arrogant, believing themselves invincible, perhaps even godlike. This belief could have led them to push the boundaries of their power beyond safe limits, or to ignore the subtle warning signs from the Earth itself. It's a poignant reminder that while technology can grant immense power, it does not automatically confer wisdom or responsibility. Our own modern world, grappling with the ethical implications of AI, genetic editing, and climate manipulation, faces strikingly similar dilemmas. It's almost as if Atlantis is whispering from the deep. Been there, done that, bought the disaster movie rights. Another crucial lesson is the importance of environmental stewardship and respecting planetary limits. If Atlantean technology, despite its sophistication, ultimately contributed to their downfall through overstressing telluric currents or inadvertently triggering geological instability, it serves as a stark warning about humanity's relationship with its home planet. We, too, are rapidly advancing technologies that significantly impact Earth's ecosystems, from resource extraction to atmospheric modification. The Atlantean narrative suggests that even the most advanced civilizations are not immune to the consequences of neglecting their environment. This aligns with mainstream scientific consensus on climate change and resource depletion. There are ecological tipping points, and disrespecting them comes with a price. Furthermore, the story of Atlantis highlights the dangers of societal imbalance and the concentration of power. If access to their secret technology led to a rigid hierarchy, or if internal conflicts over its control fragmented their society, it demonstrates that even in a post-scarcity world, human nature's darker impulses can still manifest. A technologically advanced society that lacks moral fortitude or equitable distribution of power can be just as vulnerable, if not more so, than a less developed one. This is a recurring mainstream historical fact. Societies crumble not just from external threats, but from internal decay and injustice. The ethical dilemmas of power, which we discussed earlier, are perhaps the most enduring lesson. Atlantis, with its potential for both immense good, healing, abundance, enlightenment, and immense destruction, weaponry, environmental catastrophe, serves as a macrocosm of humanity's ongoing struggle with its own creations. The narrative compels us to constantly ask, what should we do with our power? Not just what can we do. It's a reminder that true progress isn't just about innovation, but about the moral framework that guides it. Ultimately, the lessons from Atlantis are not just historical curiosities. They are prescient warnings for our own technological age. They urge us to temper our ambition with humility, our innovation with responsibility, and our power with wisdom. The sinking of Atlantis, whether literal or symbolic, serves as a timeless cautionary tale, echoing through the ages, prompting us to reflect on our trajectory and consider whether we are truly building a sustainable future or simply sailing towards our own, perhaps technologically self-induced deluge. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across the landscape of our understanding, we arrive at the final whispers of the Atlantean saga, the unanswered questions. Despite the compelling theories, the tantalizing echoes, and the relentless modern quest, the story of Atlantis remains shrouded in an almost impenetrable veil of mystery. Imagine peering into a deep, dark well, knowing there's something incredible at the bottom, but unable to quite discern its form or true nature. It's a paradox of immense knowledge and profound ignorance, isn't it? The core mystery here is not what we know, but what we don't know, and how this enduring enigma continues to shape our imagination and inspire our future. Perhaps the most fundamental unanswered question is the simplest. Did Atlantis truly exist as a physical civilization with the advanced technology described? While the cumulative evidence from ancient myths, geological anomalies, and speculative science paints a compelling picture, irrefutable, widely accepted archaeological proof remains elusive. Was Plato's account a historical record, a philosophical allegory, or a blend of both? Until a definitive smoking gun, a submerged city unmistakably Atlantean in its construction, or a decipherable orichalcum device is discovered, the question will continue to hang in the air, a persistent whisper on the wind. Even if Atlantis did exist, the precise mechanisms of its advanced technology remain largely theoretical. How did orichalcum truly work as an energy source? What were the exact principles behind their gravity manipulation or their crystalline data storage? While we can speculate about energy fields and resonance, the specific scientific formulas and engineering blueprints are lost to time. Assuming they ever existed in a form we could recognize, decoding the how of Atlantean technology would require a paradigm shift in our own scientific understanding, perhaps hinting that their science operated on principles entirely foreign to our current materialist paradigm. It's like trying to understand a supercomputer with only a wrench and a hammer. The true cause of its cataclysmic downfall also remains a profound enigma. Was it a natural disaster of unprecedented scale, an act of divine retribution, or a fatal flaw in their own technological ambition? The theories range from asteroid impacts and pole shifts to self-inflicted wounds from weaponized technology or a collapse of their energy grid. Each explanation carries its own weight, yet none fully satisfies the desire for a definitive answer. The precise sequence of events, and whether their warnings were ignored or simply insufficient, adds layers of tragic complexity to the tale. And what of the legacy of Atlantean knowledge? If survivors indeed seeded later civilizations with fragments of their wisdom, how much was passed on, and how much was distorted or misinterpreted? Are there hidden caches of Atlantean scrolls or technological artifacts still awaiting discovery, perhaps guarded by geological forces or ancient protective systems? This question fuels the ongoing modern quest, driven by the tantalizing possibility that a profound key to humanity's future might lie buried in its forgotten past. The mainstream historical fact that this touches upon is the acknowledged lost knowledge, periods in human history where advanced techniques or understandings seem to vanish, only to be rediscovered much later, albeit often without a clear explanation for their initial disappearance. Ultimately, the unanswered questions surrounding Atlantis are perhaps its most enduring legacy. They compel us to look beyond the conventional narratives of history, to question the limits of our own understanding, and to keep an open mind about the possibilities of the past. The myth of Atlantis continues to inspire writers, artists, scientists, and dreamers, reminding us that the universe is far vaster and more mysterious than we can often comprehend. It's a tale that invites us to dream, to explore, and to continue the eternal human quest for knowledge. Even when the answers remain just beyond our grasp, shimmering faintly in the depths of legend. The sun is truly setting now, and the world is growing quiet. The echoes of Atlantis, its rise and its fall, its incredible technology and its profound mysteries, begin to fade into the soft hum of the evening. Let your mind drift with the tides of forgotten time, as the ocean holds its secrets close. Rest easy now, knowing that even in the deepest slumber, the whispers of history continue to resonate, inviting you to dream of what might have been.